Really hope you're all doing great and staying absolutely safe as well. उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब बहुत अच्छे होंगे. Would first of all like to welcome you all to this platform of IAS Origin. And you all know that we are having a proper series in which we are analyzing GS mains papers. So mains के जो papers हैं उनको हम लोग analyze कर रहे हैं बेटे. And in that very series, today we are going to do GS paper 3 environment portion. So we'll be properly decoding the environment portion. In fact, I'll try to make sure that from 2016 to 2024, all the previous year questions we analyze from the environment portion, we find out what all are the important themes which we are supposed to study and what exactly is the weightage of the theme, what are the type of the questions being asked. All these things we are going to be decoding in today's session. So I am sure about one thing, that you are going to gain immensely from this session as well. अब इस session से बहुत कुछ gain करेंगे, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है. It is absolutely true. So we will certainly be making sure that we are going to focus in that particular manner. Got it? So before I even start the very session, please do let me know in the comment section if I'm clearly audible and visible to you guys. आवाज आ रही है? चलो, that's good. So we will be starting this proper analysis, and I'll try to make sure that you stand to gain immensely from this very session. आपको इससे बहुत ज़्यादा gain करने को मिले. That is what I would be wanting from this very session. So everyone, please do let me know in the comment section if I'm clearly audible and visible to you guys. So I can see Kumar Chandan is there, Adesh Kamble, Endo. Chalo. So I certainly can see so many students who are already here in this very session. Chalo. So before I even move ahead with this very session, I would first of all try to brief you about the importance of this very session. I'm sure वैसे तो I don't need to tell you, but let me tell you one thing, that this is the kind of the session which helps you to prepare effectively. हम कहते हैं ना effective preparation. So that is what the effective preparation is, that how in the first place are we supposed to prepare effectively. So before I even start the session, I would request you all to join this Telegram channel, that is IAS Origin UPSC. You can search for it. You can easily join that, because here you will be getting the PDF of this very session. आपको यहाँ पे PDF मिलेगी, so make sure आप इसको join जरूर करें. Hi, good afternoon, Spider-Man, Atul Soni, and so I can see so many people are joining in the session. First of all, welcome to the class, and thank you so much for joining the session. So we all know one thing, that when we talk about the GS paper 3, what do we have in GS paper 3? Science and technology part we have economy part we discussed on the Friday, we have disaster management part, we have ecology and environment part, and we have internal security part. So today our focus is going to be there on this very part of ecology. ये जो ecology का part है, we are going to be focusing on this environment and ecology. And in the upcoming classes, we will also be focusing on science and tech, then we'll focus on disaster management, we'll focus on internal security. So this week, mainly, we are going to be focusing on GS paper 3. Before I even move ahead, I would like to tell you one thing, that we already have covered the GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. So you can see in this on this very channel only, you will easily be finding the session. We have covered this art and culture part, history, geography, society for GS paper 1. Then we covered governance, this polity part, social justice, IR for GS paper 2. And for GS paper 3, of course, we are now doing. So this week, we are going to be focusing here. So what is the most important thing about these sessions? Try to understand that first of all. The most important thing is that these are the kind of the sessions which surely are going to provide you with a good base for your mains preparation. So that is why I would say these are very much important. All right. Now, if I pick on this part, this environment part, biodiversity and environment part as we call it, got it. So what is given in the syllabus? So what does the syllabus says? Syllabus क्या कहता है? If you look at the syllabus, it says that conservation, environmental pollution and degradation, and EIA, that is environmental impact assessment. So this is what has been said in the syllabus. Got it? And if we analyze past 10 years papers, what we find is that we have got various key themes in the environment which have been asked. Like we have the questions being asked on climate change, global warming. Questions are being asked on biodiversity, conservation, then ecosystem protection. Then questions are being asked on the pollution aspect. Questions are being asked on the energy, renewable energy, sustainable development. Questions are being asked on the environmental laws and policies as well. So you got to understand that we have got questions being asked from all these points. So that is one thing we have to first of all understand, that yes, this is a very basic aspect we are supposed to be understanding. Got it? Now, having said that, one more important point which everybody asks me is that if I talk about GS paper 3 of mains, what is the weightage of this paper? 250 marks. 250 marks is the weightage. So out of this environment part is of how many marks? That is the biggest question which comes to the mind of any aspirant, and it is bound to come. That is absolutely okay. So I would like to tell you that if I pick this very year paper, like 2024 mein, in 2024 we had 3 questions. One was 15 marker and 2 were 10 markers. So we had 35 marks ka environment which was asked in the paper of 2024. I'll be very clear. But if I talk about 2023, we had massive weightage which was there in the 2023. I would like to tell you, like we had 4 questions, 3 were 15 markers and 1 was 10 markers. So it was around 55 marks. It was around 55 marks ki weightage. So what does this tell you? That it is not fixed that what will be the weightage, but the weightage will be on higher side only. So around 20% of your papers ke marks are going to be there from this portion. So you have to take it very seriously. In 2022, if you ask me, so we had 2 15 markers, 2 10 markers. So in 2022, the weightage was around 50 marks. I'll be showing you the paper questions also, don't worry. So I'm just telling you that anywhere between 30 to 50 marks of GS paper 3 are going to come from the environment portion. That is a very important point I want you all to be very much clear about. ये clarity आपको होनी जरूरी है. So it can be 30 marks, 35 marks, 50 marks, 55 marks, you don't know. So what I always say is that you will have from environment portion, out of 20 questions जो आते हैं आपके GS paper 3 में, environment portion you will have around 3 to 4 questions. Remember this thing. So now I can say that how many 15 markers, how many 10 markers. There can be 2 10 markers, 2 15 markers, or 1 10 markers, 3 15 markers, or 3 10 markers, 1 15 marker. It is not sure. But you will have around 3 to 4 questions from environment portion. That is for sure. This is very much important. But schedule का तो ऐसे है कि every day at 12 PM we have the class. Okay. 12 PM is the timing of the class. So I want to make this very much sure. 12 PM live do we have the class. Keep this thing in your mind. 12 बजे live class होते हैं. हाँ जी. But you don't need to understand what to study. You just come to the class, you'll automatically understand. Are you getting it? So just be regular in the classes and you'll be good to go. So you don't need to worry in that regards. I hope now you know about the weightage. Environment key weightage. Now are you clear about that? What is the importance of this portion, everyone? Yeah. So I hope that this idea is 100% clear to all of you guys. Everyone is very much clear in this regards. So that is of course of immense importance. Got it? Chalo, that's perfect. Now, having said that, it's very much important that we see what all are the kinds of questions which are being asked. Clear? So, having said that, this is the portion as you all know. But this is the English class only. Okay. I may use some non-English, but mainly English here. जी. Idea clear? Sure. So having said that, we had a question, like we had two 10 marker and one 15 marker. This is from 2024 ka paper. Let me tell you, 2024 UPSC asked this very question, and we had a question on industrial pollution of the river. Now I want to tell you one thing, that on river pollution, even specifically they have asked the questions on Namami Gange, in the previous year. So it's very much important for you guys to understand that river pollution as a theme is of immense importance. ये बहुत ज़्यादा important theme है, mind you. So you are supposed to know that we have to master this very theme. That's important. So industrial pollution of the river water, as we call it, it's very much important environment issue in India, we know that. So discuss the various mitigation measures to deal with this problem and also government initiative. So let me tell you one thing, whenever we read the environment portion, you have to be very much clear about the government's initiative, that what is government doing. शीतू बस बेटे आपको पास होना चाहिए. हाँ जी, हाँ जी, हाँ जी, बहुत बढ़िया. सॉर्टेड. तो आप इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं. So I am hopeful that my voice is now audible. Up clear है? चलिए. Now when we talk about another aspect, there was this question on what is the role environment NGOs and activities activists play in influencing in EIA. अब ये देखो एग्जाम में if you pick the syllabus, they have explicitly given this thing. So ये बहुत important है. Clear है? Now here they have asked you to, बिल्कुल ये clear है. So cite 4 examples with all important details. So they have to give examples also of this. So that is of course of immense importance. This is actually a very important point. Now when we talk about the 15 marker, there was a question, the world is facing acute shortage of clean and safe fresh water. What are the alternative technologies which can solve the crisis? Discuss any 3 such technologies. So very much important is that you have to have some apt examples also. It's very much important for you to have proper examples as well when you write an answer. See, now in these questions in 2024, they've explicitly asked for examples and discuss such technologies. Even if they are not asking for this, you are supposed to write this. ये बहुत important है. हाँ जी, हाँ जी. Clear है? So I am hopeful that you are now at least in a position to understand that how in a way we have to be understanding this part precisely. That's very much important. Clear hai? Okay. Moving ahead, when we talk about the 2023 paper, what do we observe? We observe, like there was a question, what is oil pollution? What are its impacts on the marine ecosystem? Now they've asked you something and then they've asked its particular impact and in what way is oil pollution harmful for a country like India. So impact on marine environment तो पूछा ही है, but country specific वो हो गए हैं that they've asked you that what is the impact on country like India. Now you are supposed to again cite some examples as well. You got to give some examples as well. That is very much important point we need to be understanding. Clear hai? So I am hopeful that you are in a position to understand this idea very much clearly. Got it? Moving ahead, then we say there's a question, the adoption of electric vehicles is increasing worldwide, we know that. So how do electric vehicles contribute to reducing carbon emission? what are the key benefits they offer compared to traditional combustion engine vehicles? So now, if this is a question, you are supposed to know that you also have to touch upon the side that the batteries, disposal is also an issue. So anyways, now they are asking on this theme of environment only, because when we talk about the electric vehicle, they are going to reduce the carbon emissions. See, it's a very important theme. In a way, it is also related to the air pollution, that it is helping reduce the air pollution in the environment, so it's environmental friendly. All these things are going to be of immense importance. So we have to keep this thing in our mind, that how do we deal with such questions. Then there was a question or comment on National Wetland Conservation Program. Okay, there was a proper program, so there was a question on National Wetland Conservation Program. So this was a proper question, because it's a government of India. So now you can see, any government of India initiative, if it is there, they are specifically asking you questions on that. Okay, and name a few India's wetland of international importance, including Ramsar sites. So yeah, you just have to name them, which are the Ramsar sites. You can list out prominently 5 to 10 of them. That would be fine. But the most important part is the government initiative on the protection of the wetlands. That is what is being asked here. That is what precisely is being asked in this question. Then we had a question in 2023 itself. That was a question on IPCC, Governmental Panel on Climate Change, that how it has predicted a global rising sea level. See, now ultimately, what would be its impact on India and other countries in Indian Ocean region? So here very nicely you can give example of Indonesia, which is thinking of moving its capital from Jakarta to Nusantara. Why? Because Jakarta is facing the brunt of the rising sea level. So this is how you relate things. This is how in the first place are you supposed to be relating things together, and that ways, if you are able to do it, you are on the right track. I would always say that. So ultimately, it is about picking the right way of answering a certain question. That is what is required. Na? So itna agar aap kar pa rahe ho, so you are absolutely fine. So always keep this very thing in your mind. Okay, then if I pick 2022, we saw very important aspect. So we had these 4 questions being asked. Got it. So then again, there was this question on a very important aspect, that large number of plant material, cellulose, is deposited on the surface of the earth. What are the natural processes this cellulose undergo before yielding carbon dioxide, water and other end products? So ये बहुत interesting question था. It is very much related to science and environment both together. ये बहुत important है. Clear है? Everybody is able to understand this idea very much clearly. I hope so. Then we talk about this thing. Discuss the photochemical smog, emphasizing its formation, okay, effect, mitigation. So explain the 1999 Gothenburg Protocol. ये बहुत important है. Got it. So now here they are very much specifically asking about this Gothenburg Protocol, and that is where the problem really starts. If you have not studied this, you can't give the proper answer or accurate answer. You can't frame. That is very much problematic. Clear? Anyways, then we talk about a very important aspect, that is discuss global warming. You have to mention its effects on the global climate. You also have to explain the control measures to bring down the level of greenhouse gases which cause the global warming, and in light of the Kyoto Protocol, in line with the Kyoto Protocol, you have to be discussing this. So this again is a bit of a difficult thing for you to answer. So I just want you all to understand this very idea, that how we have to understand what is being asked. So you can really see that some themes are genuinely very much important. For example, they are asking you about environment in the sense of that global warming. They are asking about the pollution, they're asking about the disposal of certain waste, and cause and effect of coastal erosion. So this is also a very important theme in the environment. So how do we focus on this combating the coastal erosion thing? So coastal erosion is happening. So how do we stop that? That is the question. So cause and effect of coastal erosion in India, they are basically asking. So what are the causes and what are the effects? So again, you are expected to write some examples here, because causes of effect likhne only if you are writing some good examples, I would say that you are in a position to, you know, actually pick the pulse of this. This is certainly very much important. जी, so ये पूरा जो idea है, I hope this point is absolutely clear to you guys. Everyone is able to understand this idea very much specifically. Chalo, when we move to the 2021 ka paper, what do we realize is that we have to see, we have got these three themes basically being asked, and here what was dominant was that COP26 ki theme. COP26 of Glasgow, which was a very important theme back then. This was a theme new. So that's why now we talk about COP27 happened, 28, COP29, COP30, when it will happen. So all these things becomes important. So when we talk about, you know, conference of the parties of UNFCCC, so UNFCCC की जो conference of parties है, that in a way is a super important topic you have to keep in your mind. So explain the purpose of Green Grid initiative launched at the, you know, leaders summit of the COP26 of UN conference. So this is a specific initiative and you have to be very much specific about this Green Grid initiative. So what I'll suggest you is that whenever, you know, there is anything in the current affair, for example, we talk about this Baku Wali COP which happened. So you have to understand that what all are the things coming out of that particular summit. Because if the summit is happening, the leaders are coming together, something will happen. You know, they will have consensus on something, they will not be agreeing on something. All these keeps on going on. So you have to keep your eye on this thing, that what exactly is coming out of it. So if this Green Grid initiative came out, so what exactly is it? Okay. And this was not it. When was the idea first floated in the International Solar Alliance? So this is very much important. So all these things are very much related. So we have to be understanding this thing. Next, when we talk about this question also, discuss the major outcomes of the 26th session of the COP of UNFCCC. What are the commitments made by the India? Now this is a very basic question. You are supposed to know about this thing. If India is a part of a certain conference, you should in the first place know about that, what exactly are the commitments India is making. Where is India standing? What is India's stand on certain things? India is agreeing on something, India is not agreeing on something. That is absolutely okay. So it is your duty to be having a basic idea that how in the first place are we understanding this point very much precisely. Getting it? Now, having said that, we talk about a very important aspect, and that is describe the key points of revised global air quality guidelines, AQGs. Here देखो, global air quality guidelines. So recently it was released by WHO. So it's a question basically related to WHO. So air quality की बात हो रही है, air pollution का है basically. So how are these different from the last update in 2005? What changes in the India's national clean air programs are required to? अब ये देखो NCAP पे पहले भी question आया हुआ है, national clean air program पे. We have seen this question being asked before. I'll show you. So if you have done the questions diligently, so you know that if COP26 was important back then, the two questions were asked. You have to prepare COP28 or COP29 as well. Okay, so whatever the COP has just occurred before your mains, you are supposed to have a good level of clarity. So do read about what happened in Baku. That is certainly important for you. So you have to have a basic clarity on that thing, that okay, how in the first place are we supposed to link things together. If we go 1 year back, then again we had, अब ये देखो यहाँ पे सीधा question है कि नहीं? The question has been asked on the NCAP. What are the key features of the National Clean Air Program initiated by the Government of India? So they are, you know, asking you these kind of the questions because ultimately only if you have a basic idea, you are in a position to understand this point precisely. तभी तो फायदा है ना. So we are supposed to have a decent level of understanding on this point. That is very, very important, mind you. And only if we are, you know, understanding like that, we are in a position to have a good level of clarity. Okay. there was this question, how does the draft environmental impact assessment, draft EIA notification 2020 differ from the existing EIA notification 2006? अब इसमें यही था, you know, if any changes are made in certain rules, in certain policy, you are supposed to know about those changes. Very much specifically, you should know about them. You are supposed to have a good level of clarity that what exactly are the changes which are coming up. Only and only if you have that clarity, you will be in a position to understand it specifically. Remember this thing. So we are supposed to have a decent amount of understanding on these things. Only then we are in the right position that if something is in news, we are supposed to know about it. As simple as that. आपको पता होना ही चाहिए. So that's very, very important. For example, what are the salient features of Jal Shakti Abhiyan launched by the government of India for water conservation? Now again, it's a government initiative. If it's a government initiative, it is important. Like government changed this EIA notification 2020. So what were the changes being made? You should know about it. Like what are the key features of NCAP initiated by the government? So what exactly is NCAP? You should know about it. So if something is in news, you should be having a decent level of understanding on that point. I would always suggest that you have to be very much clear in this regards. You go 1 year back, 2019 mein, like we had a question on coastal sand mining. Okay, whether legal illegal pose biggest threat to our environment. Up again, if you see recently also we had this question on coastal zone management. That, you know, how do we manage those eco-sensitive areas on the coast? Are we supposed to mine there or not? What are the repercussions involved? All these things, they become important. Now, again, they have asked you for certain examples also, you know, you have to cite some examples. So examples become all the more very much important in this regards because they will add weight to your answer. They will make your answer, you know, look good. That is very much important. So whenever we talk about the coastal sand mining, which is posing a big threat to environment, you have to analyze the impact of sand mining, as simple as that. And not inside the mainland area, it is on the Indian coast only, because some people will have the temptation to write sand mining on the coast of the river. That may not be very much apt over here because they are certainly asking you about what? They are simply asking you about the sand mining which is taking place along the Indian coasts, sea coast, समुद्र के तट पे पूछ रहा है वो. So don't write something which you know probably which hasn't been asked, because that is not going to give you any marks whatsoever. So you have to control that temptation all the time. That is important. Yeah. 2018 में again when we go, so again, what are the impediments disposing the huge quantities of discarded solid waste? ठीक है. अब ये देखो, when we talk about the disposing of the solid waste, that is a big challenge, no doubt about that. But we have to understand that how do we remove safely the toxic waste that have been accumulated in our habitable environment. So ultimately, it is about the solid waste management. It's a big issue, no doubt, especially in the cities. It is a big issue. So we have to have a decent level of understanding that how in the first place are we supposed to be answering this specifically. So, you know, you always have to have a plan that, okay, you are answering something. So how in the first place are you going to answer? That has to be there in your mind. That how do you start your answer? How do you introduce? But always remember this thing, that anything related to pollution, when we talk about this land ka pollution, this habitat ka pollution, that is directly related to solid waste management. So you have to do the solid waste management thing specifically. There's no other way out. So this is how we look at it. Got it? Then there was a question that what is a wetland? Explain the Ramsar concept of wise use in the context of wetland conservation. ये बहुत important है. You have to give 2 examples of Ramsar sites in India also. So this one is absolutely a very basic point we are supposed to be understanding. ये clear है. So I am sure that you are supposed to have a good level of understanding on this point, and I am sure that you can answer. See, one thing that recently also we had this question. अगर आप देखो दोबारा, we had a question specifically on the Ramsar sites. अभी था ये 2023 में. You know, ये देखो. So you have to include a few Ramsar sites. In 2023, this was a question, and similar question has been asked in 2018, as I've shown you. ये देखो. ठीक है, cite 2 example of Ramsar sites in India. So I always suggest that you should know few prominent examples of important national parks. वाइल्ड लाइफ सैंक्चुरीज, जो हॉटस्पॉट्स है बायोडाइवर्सिटी के वो, and then of course we need to know about the Ramsar sites also, because that ways you are going to do very well in your paper. Remember this thing always. अगर genuinely अच्छा करना है तो you should read about it. So what is a wetland? You should know proper definition. ठीक है, so depth wise you should know that at certain depth in the low tide, so you should know about that. Okay, so then we had the Sikkim being organic state, so ecological and economical outcomes. Now I'll tell you something again. When you read this question, make sure that you are at least in a position to answer all the parts precisely. That is very much important, bete. Because if Sikkim is being a organic state, they are genuinely asking you about both ecological and economical outcomes of that. So don't just focus on one. When you focus on the ecological, you also focus on the economical benefit of that. Only if you focus on both of them, you are going to be in the state to get good marks. Because a lot of people will do what? They will focus either on the ecological or the economical. So you have to focus on both of them. That is important, because Sikkim is the first organic state of India, no doubt about it. But since we are focusing on the economic benefits, so economic benefits are certainly something which you have to understand. Again, how does biodiversity vary in India? How is biological diversity act helpful in the conservation of flora and fauna? So flora means plants and fauna is animals. So you have to focus on both. So again, these are the kind of the questions which are going to test that how well read you are. In 2017, again we had such questions. For example, river linking was a concept, but it's becoming reality. So discuss the advantage of river linking and impact on the environment. So positive and negative, both you have to focus upon, and there are positive and negative both. Give example of a certain protected area which is being submerged. Panna ka example de do. You focus on Kane Bethwa linking, because examiner should know that it is not that आप कुछ भी random लिख रहे हो. Whatever you're writing, examiner should have an idea that you know about it, and trust me, that is very much important. If examiner is not convinced that you have read that thing, so he may not be giving you very good marks. That is a case. So you have to read about that. So you always cite, you always give few examples, relevant examples, I would say. Relevant examples should always be there. That's certainly important. Okay, so climate change is a global problem. How India will be affected by climate change? Now, this is a beautiful question. How Himalayan and coastal state in India will be affected? Now, you know how many parts are there? First, climate change is a global problem. So that's a problem statement. You have to focus on this. And in line of this, in this context, you have to write that how India will be affected by the climate change. That's one thing. Then you have to focus on how Himalayan and coastal states will be affected. So you have to pay special focus on Himalayan states. So here you write about Pura, just say Himachal, Uttarakhand, and the areas Sikkim and then Northeast area. And then coastal states. You have, very much coastal. In fact, I would suggest you that you also write something about the islands like Andaman Nicobar, Lakshadweep. So what problems are they going to be facing? So here you focus on sea level rise, salination of the land, coastal zone management becoming a bit of a tricky issue. And then you focus on this very much aspect of, this thing, landslides, basic cloud burst. You are supposed to focus on all these aspects over here. Only then this is answer environment plus disaster management kind of. 2016 we had a question that rehabilitation of human settlement is one of the most important environmental impacts. This is a fact. So we always have some controversies surrounding this thing. So while we plan the major projects, so you have to discuss the measures suggested for mitigation of this impact while proposing major developmental projects. So again, you had to give some examples over here also. And in fact, environmental impact assessment ka hi ye question hai. This is something you have to understand. You have to discuss the Namami Gange and National Mission for Clean Ganga programs and causes of mixed result from previous schemes. So ये बहुत important है. You should know about the previous schemes also. What quantum leaps can help preserve the river Ganga better than incremental inputs? So you have to focus on living river as a living entity, and these kind of aspects you have to be focusing upon very much specifically. So what I feel is, in such questions, you are supposed to always focus on, what the trend is. So we have always seen that, the trend is always in this regards that environmental impact assessment, climate change, global warming, what are the repercussions, what are we doing for that, what are India's commitments, any important summit which is happening, all these things we have to focus upon. So remember this thing, that if and when you have any such question in front of you, you always have to first of all understand that, have you read about it? If you have read about it, focus on the themes which can fetch you better marks. That is the most important thing of all. If you have this idea, then you are absolutely good to go. So this is a point we are supposed to be understanding very much clearly, and ये एक point है जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. I would always suggest you, if you have time, to go through the relevant NCRTs. They can surely help you with that. For the prelims also you study the environment portion, but for mains you always have to relate it with the current also. So when you read the current affairs, always I suggest you that you focus on the environment related current affairs ka portion. That of course is going to be of immense importance. I hope this very session has again given you a bit of a clarity that how in the first place are you supposed to be dealing with this portion. Very important, because GS paper 3 mein this biodiversity environment is actually a very important portion, and we are supposed to be focusing upon these things. EIA बहुत important theme है, environment impact assessment. You focus on climate change, global warming, then protection, environmental pollution, renewable energy, environmental laws and policies. You are supposed to be focusing on these points. Matlab, you cannot escape this. You are supposed to have a decent level of understanding on this very much precisely. So I hope this idea is clear. Now, similarly, for example, we are focusing on the GS paper 3 this week. So today we have decoded the environment portion pretty well. Now you have a basic idea that what are the kind of questions being asked. So this is done. So tomorrow I'm thinking of taking the disaster management. Kal ke liye, tomorrow at 12 p.m. live, we are going to be doing the disaster management ka portion. I hope that's fine. Okay. So for Tuesday, it's disaster management, and internal security will be doing on Wednesday. Wednesday go, we'll be doing internal security. And similarly, science and tech ka analysis will be doing on Thursday. I've given you complete idea. So for the people who are asking about the schedule, again I'm reiterating, tomorrow we'll focus on disaster management. Day after tomorrow, that is Wednesday, we'll do internal security. And uske baad, Thursday ko we'll be doing the science and technology. This is what the plan is for this very week. Friday ko I'll tell you, what we're going to be doing. So we'll be focusing on something else. We'll either start ethics or we'll be doing a special session of data and the facts. That's a different thing altogether. But what is important is that we are supposed to have a good level of understanding on our overall aspects and how in the first place are we dealing with them. That is something which is of immense importance. जी. So I hope आपको मतलब समझ आया जो भी हमने पढ़ा है. I am hopeful that you have found this session useful for your preparation. That is more than important, that you have to find these sessions useful, because I am literally analyzing all the important themes, the kind of the questions being asked, and you can see a proper linkages with the previous year questions as well. It is not that we are doing it randomly. No. So whatever we are doing, we are having a proper linkages, and these linkages are, I tell you, of immense help. These linkages tell you that, okay, what exactly are the kind of the question being asked, and what are the kind of the question we can certainly expect as well in upcoming papers. That is very much important. ये एक fact है जो आपको ध्यान में रखना है. Clear है जी? So I am hopeful that this has added a lot of value to your preparation, and that would be it from my side for today. ठीक है, so disaster management की theme of course we'll be doing now, but environment ecology की theme is done, which is great, and that is how we have to go about. Economy का बेटे we have discussed on Friday. We did discuss about the economy wala portion. So the last class you can see we did focus on this part, and that's why today I started with this portion of you're talking about this environment ka portion. That's why I started today. Okay. And before I wrap this class up, again, I would like to inform you guys that if you want the PDF, you can go to IAS Origin UPSC. This is the Telegram channel. You can simply scan this or you can search for that. That is totally up to you. So this is the Telegram channel and you can scan the QR code or you can simply search for that. You will find that. Okay. So thank you so very much. It was great having this session like always. Have a great day everyone. Jai Hind.